Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have Lee Sin, challenger player playing in Master Tier, Decay Games. They kind of bite you in that sense. And the enemy jungler is McDonald's Employee of the Month. So let's see how he's been spending his free time. This game, obviously from the title, you know this is high KP. It's a very heavy solo carry game, but it doesn't all come from level 1, and that's what I want to talk about very extensively here. We have the Zed being challenged on the top side, with the Fiora Camille. I mean, they all look the same at this stage, and the Yone showing up. Obviously, you can see on the minimap, the whole red team is showing up here, and you're going to see this a little bit of a fiesta play out. Zed has recognized that he wants no part in this, but his laners, they don't agree. And I just had a coaching session around your Platinum Elo where laners overchased, jungler overchased in these exact situations, and it does happen even in high Elo. People vacuum their eyesight into something and they really can't stop themselves from chasing. Runes in your screen now, absolutely standard page. If there was a more standard page in League of Legends for a jungler, does not exist. This is it. This is the Season 12 rune set. And the Season 12 item would be what? Gold Drinker and Chem Tank for the two dominant metas that we had. So now, if you find yourself in the situation where you've got some early kills like this, but you're kind of low, you're not getting a leash, you're not having optimized ability start for your clears, do your best to try and clear a camp or two, because the gold lead that you currently have is not realized, right? You haven't spent the gold. You and the Zed both have absolutely nothing spent. So if you can at least control one side of your jungle, reset and now spend that gold that you just earned from the first kills, now you can actually use that to get a good lead. Now, relax a second. I understand it looks kind of ominous. Oh no, he got 2 kills, it's all over. No. No, at one point the Zed will literally have double the CS and the Lee Sin's team will not have the gold lead. Yeah, things happen, ladies and gentlemen. Things are never over level 1, unless it's Korea. Then sometimes, mostly, it's over. Yeah. So Zed now very easily could have done something cheeky, starting bot side and invaded to do this, which is why the bottom lane kind of floated and flirted with this area over here when they rotated down. At this stage, because Zed didn't affect this fight after, everyone kept fighting and he left, we can assume, don't have 100% confirmation, but we can logically assume he started on the red side. At this stage, you're not sure if he's going to do a full clear or 5 camp, but it's a Zed jungle. Zed jungles, talent jungles, those artificial number boosts that they gave them force them to actually end up full clearing quite extensively. Now, as a Lee Sin player, can you farm? Yeah. Do we want to really AFK farm? No. So now we've gone back to base, we've got our pickaxe. We do a blue side. There's a crab here. We know that if Zed doesn't show up, he's definitely on the top side, very easy. We see a low Lux, level 1, crashing wave, dive it. Now, on the Patreon, I just uploaded a coaching where we went diving. And it didn't go very well. Didn't go this well. And the issue is, people will say, well, if I'm gold, if I'm platinum, if I'm silver, I can't dive. Why? You can still turret aggro dodge yourself, especially if you tank the first shots. You can still be patient like this. You can still clear waves and then collapse. You can still ward up and understand that when you're in aggro now, you don't walk this way out. You just go vertically down or up. If you're diving this one, you go up and you can avoid the aggro and reset. Tower diving, while more difficult without a cohesive team in terms of ability or communication, is very difficult, but you can still make things happen, especially with low targets. So I talk a lot more about it in the coaching, but in principle, I have videos on the main channel for free about tower diving. The Zed, in the meantime, has done a full clear, has taken the top crab, and we see the final tick doesn't work. That's why you chug your pots as soon as you start fighting, something that a lot of players don't do. You start fighting, you chug your pots. Now, Lee Sin, basically, we saw the plant get hit here by the Lux. We see the Zed 28 CS, a full clear plus crab. We see him running across the mid lane. Leona now is matching the roam. Sinja's already bot. And Lee Sin, instead of worrying about the crab, says, well, I see a level 2 support with no sums and a Leona. Die. Tristan is mid lane as well. So he basically says, take that first piss crab, because that's what it is now. Enjoy it. I'm going to kill your support, and now I'm going to steal your Raptors, which, remember, these Raptors, they're a tier 2 camp. They're a camp that the Zed has already cleared 1 time, which means they've spawned again at a higher level. And if you're not farming with the same frequency, intensity, and gusto that the enemy jungler is, you need to, 1, make sure you're having map impact to get yourself vet through, gold and kills, and 2, make sure that you can counter jungle some of those tasty camps, which will always be a higher level than your camps. Now, in this situation, we see here that Akshan has got a massive wave diving onto the Camille. Unfortunately, the cannon wave is coming back. So, 10X decides, you know what? Screw those Raptors. I took Zed straight to the top lane. Akshan goes for the Ignite. We try to go for the kill here. We die. Akshan gets it, but he dies. And then Zed now, nice rotation, okay? Now, if you're looking from the Zed's perspective, right? Okay, look at this. His power thing from this side. He decided to reset now, and he knows from this vision, okay, this scuttle vision as well as this one over here placed by the very own, oh, by himself, rather. I was gonna say the mid laner, but I forgot the Zed might have been able to do it as well. I'll cover that in a second. He goes straight to the top lane. He foresees this, he rotates, and this is something that's so important that I just put out on the main channel talking about ganking, and again, linking the videos together. And I'll hold this absolutely fat wave, no TP, Camille. Don't mind if I do. This is how you stay in games. If the enemy jungle is a ganker, not a farmer, applying pressure that you cannot match or don't want to match because of your playstyle, these are the moments where you piss him off. You know, like the Lee Sin's going to be trying making things happen, and you're just sitting there double his CS. So this ward that we saw over here is hugely valuable, and it's why I don't think you should always necessarily go back for a scanner if you're not going to be a ganker. Because if you full clear, take this, ward this, knowing that the Lee Sin started topside, you know that you now have ward on the second tier, the second camp that he did. Same thing if you kind of sequence down, right? You take the bottom crab and you ward this Grump if the enemy jungler started blue. So you know that the second Grump will spawn, you have vision of this. It's very important that you do. So obviously Lee Sin dies in that situation, but we're 4-1-1. That's pretty good. I mean, I'm happy with that. I mean, if we look at the gold amount, 3-3 and 3-2. So the Zed is not that far away from him whatsoever. Lee Sin goes Krugs, Raptors, good sequencing, because now the Krugs will spawn again, the Raptors will spawn again in order, and then we can fall to our red, use that smite, and make sure we get that charge. Now you want to look at the map. Where is the Zed going to be? Bottom side. We have the pings coming through. We have the first RNG crab, the buffed crab, the juicy crab, I was going to say the fat rich crab. Well, yeah, it kind of is. Really dense crab in terms of golden experience. Now what we do is we gank mid lane as we are transitioning down to the bottom side to clear the wave so that the Yone, when he eased back, feels the wrath of death. Unfortunately, because the Zed had used his lead very well and Yone is a 300,000 year design champion, basically probably forerun attack, he lives. And Lux rotates, and Zed now shows up, good rotation. We knew the Zed was there, so you have to understand that is a risk, okay? That is a risk. But now look at this. Level 5, level 7, great transition from that mid lane counter gank, bottom lane farm, into a bottom lane gank here to pressure the Tristana. Burns are rolled. That's huge. So the Zed's doing a solid job. But how now do we get from this situation, which was so good at level 1, to this 27 kill, 81% KP behemoth jungle performance? As always, a key word, ladies and gentlemen. Patience. Patience and vision. The more you gank, the more the ganks don't pan out, the more you die from said ganks, the more a farming jungler will benefit, right? They're their baseline, like this, horizontal baseline for gold income. Your ganks need to provide you more than that base exponentially. You need to keep getting richer and richer and richer from the ganks using your fisting lead, you know? The gold that you use to literally punch people out. It's very important, right? Now, in these situations, in coaching a lot, and in these games a lot as well, you feel like someone in Lee Sin's situation, level 5 to level 7, starts to get a bit itchy, you know? The Zed is farming. The Zed is more cash monies. I want those cash monies. Also, he has first strikes, so he's getting even more cash monies. I'm going to resort to clearing my camps first so I can catch up, and then I'm going to make impact. It's not always what you want to do. In fact, it's rarely what you want to do. If you happen to be a farming jungler, and this happens when I'm playing on my Volibear specifically, but because Ornn and Zyra have similar kind of concepts in terms of the playstyle, I can afford to actually farm really, really quickly and catch up. But in Lee Sin's case, you're not going to match that purely when the Zed is giga sequencing. So what we do is we cut this, we see this fight, and we immediately rotate to the mid lane using numbers advantage. When you see your support rotating in a 2v2, make it a 3v2 in your favor. Now, you know, we've got the Yone going back into the jungle here, and we've got another kill. You know, we kick him, we kill him. 6-2-2, very nice. You see that? So instead of defaulting to I need to do my camps and then I need to farm, hold up, action is afoot. Okay. McDonald's Employee of the Month. So the Zed obviously keeps his sequencing going, affects the top lane, sees this happening, rotates down, knowing that Lee Sin's going to fall back to his Raptor camp. Lena is in the wrong place at the wrong time. This isn't where we want to be. But remember, there's a limit to how much you really need to handhold your team. If they're going to go do that and die, so be it. For us, the most important thing is, if I just pause to slow down a second, is that instead of defaulting to, hey, let me clear and then gank, if you see the 2v2 and you know that the Zed is doing something like this and maybe going to gank top lane because it's Akshan pushing, use your numbers advantage here to get 2 kills. When the Zed rotates here thinking he's a super Chad and then obviously does McDonald's things, that's great. But you have to mechanically play it well. You have to understand that it's going to show up. And in the case your team doesn't help you, if you don't win this 1v1 as the Zed shows up, just leave, yeah? And go down to the bottom side. There's an RNG crab here, so we'll take that. And from here, because we know we currently have a map tempo, we know that we're on the map and they're not, and we can make a play very, very quickly. Obviously, a counter play can be made, so it has to... Nah. That's fine. That all Lee Sin mains know the pain of what just happened. The minion eats the Q, you're forced to fly, so it doesn't really matter. Just kill her. And now, obviously, snack on those Krugs. As I said, we have tempo advantage. Look at this. You see this? He made the play such that Zed would respawn, get on the map again, and rotate to the situation, but it's too late. It's too late. And that's what you're looking for. Tristana now can absolutely demolish tower plates. Lux is roaming in a very weird situation. Do not be there. This is something I don't see enough as well from junglers. Do you see what he just did? As we go back to the mid lane, look at Yone, and whoops, and dead. Beautiful. These are game-winning plays, my friends. You take this one mistake from the Master Tier jungler, eating too much of that apple from the devil, and you say, no, die. You take this RNG crab, you know that he's going to respawn, get on the field again, but you can kill the Syndra first, so you do. Then you take his Krugs. Now he's got nothing but to... There's nothing for him to do. The Lux is out of position. Instead of going back to base, cut her off, right? You try to cut off the Camille there, by the way, on the top side. You cut the Lux off because she's in a bad position, because your support is there as well. You see the mid laner trading when he shouldn't be trading because he isn't paying attention, because he's Master Tier, so you kill him, all right? And now, because you see the Camille is low, you rotate to the top lane to try and catch her. You don't catch her, unfortunately, but for some strange reason, she TPs back in, so you kill her. This play right here is what wins you games. Now, how many camps did we do? Any counters? Any counters for the camps? We did this, and we did this, directly. This was incidental, and those were the only 2 camps that we really intentionally went for, instead of going for a byproduct, instead of going for ganks or whatnot, because we'd already done that. We rewarded ourselves with a snack. Now, the Zed obviously takes the dragon. The Zed obviously goes and takes some of the blue side. And now, look at the CS, 104 to 63, gold lead, 7,000 to 5,555. And that is a great way to pause it. All 5s. Cool. Now, obviously, at this point, you do have to farm at some point, right? It's not a case of ignore your camps totally. So just make sure you're occasionally taking off, especially in edge camp, like the Krugs and the Gromp, huge to secure. And then you can go back to base now and spend your gold. Gargoyles. I keep doing that. Gore Drinker and Sterax achieved. Five mid. Poor mid laners, man. I feel them. I feel the pain a little bit, but at the same time, I've seen enough. That's just a good read. You see, these micro decisions in the moment are really what make a big difference. Doesn't matter, baby. We're gonna kill all. Nice ward hub over the wall, and we're gonna hit this Q before the minion wave shows up. Wait for her to use the scout of the week. Yeet back in for Destiny. Kill, shove. Very nice. And I'm willing to give up a dragon for that. So, back to our caption point. The decision to say, listen, I'm not gonna match this guy's farming. He's just rinse cycle. Look for the numbers advantage. Now that you have time on the field because people are dead, use that advantage for something you couldn't in the meantime as well, like killing bottom lane, then counter jungle, then collapse. You see another collapse, collapse again. He impacted all 3 lanes while living in the river and in the Zed's jungle. Again, now another gank on the top lane. So the Zed is 128 CS, that's great, but Camille is being absolutely obliterated. Okay, Lux Gaming, here it comes, you ready for it? Hands up if you're a jungler trying to get Soul Point or a Baron, and there's a Lux on the enemy team, and your team doesn't turn or doesn't kill her or doesn't zone, and you're like, stop attacking it, her ult, and then she just ults it. Happens. Now, usually it happens when I'm a tank, so I can't really combo smite very well. If I'm a volleyball or something like that, it doesn't really matter as much, but when you're a tank and you can't combo smite, then it becomes an issue. So once more, the Yone deserves all of this attention. The Camille and the Yone, I think everyone can accept in the comments of this video, they deserve this pain for picking Yone and Camille. We're all in agreement, right? We're all in agreement on that. I hope so. Good. Zed now moves into the jungle, same level as Lisa, no longer 2 levels up. Lux again out of position. We attempt to save the Leona. I love the Leona. She is just a full ham gamer. Just straight in. Actually, I had ham for dinner as well. Zed gets out. Again, zone. Be very cautious. The Zed is kind of fed also, but top 10 gaming moments right there. Okay, Q misses. Okay, now we gotta be very cautious. At the same time, we are still Lee Sin, and I can see things happening on the timeline, and you can see things happening in the timeline, and now you see the map, you're like, I know what's gonna happen, and ult is available. I greatly enjoy watching Zeds die. I love it. So great. Excellent. 16-2-5. How quick was that? Turn around. Now, I usually don't do this. So I'm going to come right back to this moment. We're at 15:51. I'm going to come right back to this moment, okay? We have 80 CS. Now, before all of this transpired, we're 48. 48. In 7 minutes. That's the difference, right? That's the absolute difference. 32 CS in that small window. Absolutely nothing. In case some of you were thinking about the math. Zed has farmed a hell of a lot more, but it didn't really, you know, it doesn't impact the map as much. And that's the biggest thing, is you don't get as much gold if you're ganking a little bit and falling back to your farm. You don't get as much gold if you're only perma farming. Whoa! Again, look at the Lee Sin. Present in the fights. Get there. You're the Giga Fed guy. Get there. Be there. He's not fed with low KP. He is fed with high KP. Nice mechanics always. And that's the biggest difference. You know, you always wonder how do Smurf junglers, triple kill, how do Smurf junglers always have such high KP? This is why. They see something, they rotate. They see something about to happen, they rotate. There's never a hesitation. And obviously that understanding, like the Raptor camp here is a great one, right? The Raptor camp here is a great one. Crashing Wave says, oh, okay, I'm going to do this because I know Zed's sequencing upside. Can I try get away with it? They didn't, but it's what you're thinking about. And giving up a dragon or 2 dragons early is fine. This is a huge Drake, by the way. I love this. Anybody else love this? Haste and attack speed. It just feels so good on almost everything. TP comes forth. Tristana out of position. Zed ults. Lux ults. So we committed TP and 2 ults for that. That's not the jungle. You don't want to be. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing that. See, the goal for all junglers is to be so fed that when this erupts and you go for the fun moment, the fun gaming, you can. But obviously, be careful not to bite off more than you can chew. In games like this where bounties are active, if you all wipe by some mistake of your own or your team's, sorry, there you go. Doing the Krugs in the meantime. If you all wipe and you give them like 3 towers plus a Herald or a Baron, they're back in the game. So the meta now is requires a bit more discipline, but if you get this fed, it's not an issue. Now, finally, after swooping side to side basically for the last 10 minutes, it feels like, we're finally able to push a little bit more. Flash there by the Syndra, and we're able to push into an inhib. This is fine because Yone's rage splitting. E-West special. His name is also Lone Wolf, so I think we can all expect this to be the case. Now, what you want to be careful about in this situation with bounties and with inhibs is if you take this inhib too soon. Now, the Zed is still level 11, right? He was level 11 here. 15 minutes, 4 minutes, he's still the same level. And that's because denial, by the way the Lee Sin has played this, so much denial. Now we die. So the shutdown is big. The Yone should be able to ding this. So that's big as well. Here we go. There we go, another bounty. Zed actually dies in the end. So this is what we're trying to avoid. But anyway, the inhib in your lower elo games, if you can try and not take it this early, it's good. Because you're just going to give them absolute raw super minion waves for free. And mostly what's going to happen is your laners, your junglers, everyone's going to start taking camps and relaxing. The pressure's not going to continue. And they're going to feast on this, take a bounty, take this perhaps, maybe. And people are just going to run around like, I don't know, baboons. Rolling toilet paper. And throwing toilet paper. And using toilet paper. And maybe even eating toilet paper. And they're going to do that. And all of a sudden, you lose the game. And you're going to say, why did we lose the game? You lost the game because you took an inhib too soon and you died and gave 1,000 gold shutdown. So you see what happened now to the gold lead. It's already now 6k from 10k. So be mindful of these things. And when they happen, don't worry. Don't fret. Don't cry. Don't pout. I'll tell you why. It is Christmas, I suppose, soon. You can still win the game very easily if you are this fed. And that's the whole point. Can we get to this moment where we're so fed that this little mishap and fun-having moment doesn't lose us the game? Yes, of course. If you do everything right and you rotate appropriately to all those fights, you can do so. Turn to the Baron. Hold your team, ping it, let's go. They're not going to be able to contest you still. You still have the biggest lead. And now, it's time to go once more fighting. Silas doesn't even have TP, so we go very ham for this. This is not a good engage 9.5 times out of 10. Alright? Just so we're aware. Just so we're aware. We can watch that again. You want to go for this only if your whole team is here. And in low elo and in your diamond games even, 1 or 2 people go back. Sorry, I stopped clicking. I don't know why, you know, you would go this hard into a fight if you're not this fed. So just be mindful. You know, 22 kills, yeah, we can do it. Because you see from the backline here, it doesn't really matter. So much sustain, great flash. The Syndra's gonna die as well now. We have the use of the gold drinker item. We have Black Cleaver as well for added stacks. Great for a double ADC comp especially. Very, very good itemization. And obviously the BF sword is hilarious Clinton. So, nicely done. Very nicely done. But again, only if you are this far ahead. And by that I mean 15,000 gold to 10,000 gold, which is the next highest on the enemy team. The highest on the enemy team. So just be mindful. Too often people, and you're not very often going to be in this situation. If you're in this situation frequently in your games and you're losing, it's because you don't really do this. But if you are someone who thinks they're way better than their elo, if you're not doing this, I have news for you. You're not that much better than the elo. You're in the elo you belong. So the increases will be more incremental, for sure. And the pressure will be more incremental. And the farming jungler should be very much punished by you frequently. Absolutely frequently. So here we can go back to base. Because Silas is overstaying. Once more, you just one-shot everyone anyway. You one-shot everyone with 3,000 HP, and you infinitely sustain. Zed ults, doesn't matter, we have Sterix up. Built-in lifesteal, shields, executes, disengage, CC, slows, and lifeline. Be careful though, judgment. The difference is here is that Lee Sin is a challenger player, pro player. So you know, he knows exactly how much damage he can dish out and absorb. If you're first timing, you know, Lee Sin or any kind of champion in this moment, most likely you probably die. And again, give them Drake, give them shutdown, so. All I preach is caution and warnings and using your head. But if you can get this fed, have this KP and see the map like that, you know, don't I poke myself in the eye. Don't focus only on farming it like the Zed. I mean, the Zed played a good game. But in the end, you're leaving it to coin flip, and the enemy jungler is just doing whatever the hell he wants. If you're able to be fed while farming and do what the Zed did, and go, well, my laners are inting, you didn't do your job as a jungler. Your job as a jungler is also to shut down and suppress the enemy jungler so that they can't do the 2 things that we're meant to do. Impact, gank lanes, and secure and control objectives. That is essentially what our role boils down to. How that happens in terms of econ and meta shifts from year to year. Just be thankful we're not, you know, Season 9 Sejuani perma-gankers with no farm though. So, thank you to McDonald's Employee of the Month for his valiant efforts, and thanks to you to 10x for decaying enough that we got to witness this. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you're able to enjoy and learn something. Ganking video on the gameplay channel. We did this in one take as well. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I said that already. I'll see you all in the next tutorial.